Hello there, Atheist Junior here.
Your friend and humble narrator.
So I know a lot of people enjoyed this video, but I had to take it down because I made the mistake of uploading the stream clip directly. That's not covered under fair use, so in order to make this video transformative content, I'm going to insert my comments at certain points. Enjoy.
I got a story to tell you guys.
Sure,
go ahead. Real quick.
You want to give the
So
correct
you know that I'm at Dinosaur Adventureland, right?
Oh, I keep forgetting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you deliver a message for me?
That's why I've had such bad cell spot and all this. Well, check this out. It's kind of a weird situation. All right. So I showed up on Thursday, and they put you straight to work because he's trying to finish that church before his 4th of July Bible boot camp thing that he has there and all that. So anyway, I kind of eased into it because I had a whole bunch of stuff that I had to unpack and stuff like that. But I went straight to work, hammer and nails, putting up lumber. Just to, this one guy almost got his hand chopped off by the sliding sheet metal that came off the top of the roof for the metal roof. Luckily, he didn't lose any fingers or anything, but he got a deep gash on his right index finger that went straight to the bone.
It's a bit concerning how casually he describes this, no? It seems to me that Kent is rushing his crew to finish the new video building so that it can be finished in time for Creation Boot Camp on July 4th. So he's willing to cut corners on safety and even basic construction steps like putting down a proper foundation. But this is standard procedure for Kent. He's always got a new construction project that needs to be done ASAP. This is why, after 5 years, DAL is still under construction. The way Kent sees it, if there's always a new construction project that needs to be finished, then he can ask his donors for money indefinitely. It also gives him an excuse to ask for more people to come work at the compound, because this way there's always more work to be done. And new workers means new donations, and new people living at DAL and depending on Kent. It's a pretty good con job. That's why this is not the first person to get injured at DAL.
The equipment is mostly all donated. It's not any in the best condition. The ladders are not all sturdy. One gentleman who I know very well, who still is a member there, fell off the ladder because the ladder leg caved in at the bottom. There was another gentleman who was down the road from there, but he's not there currently. We call him Jumpin' Joe. He fell off the ladder first. Then he falls off the ladder, or my friend, he falls off the ladder. The working conditions are basically you're going to work when I need you to work. When it was raining, my roommate was working on the roof. He would not let them stop it. He said it has to get done. It has to get covered. So they're working on a pitched metal roof in the rain. He slips and falls, and he breaks a rib. There's instant swelling, black and blue. It looks terrible. The guy can barely breathe. My best friend, who's no longer there, he got caught up. His jacket got caught in the auger, and it pulled him in, and it broke one of his ribs. If it had been another second before the operator of the tractor turned it off, my best friend would be dead right now.
And if I hadn't have been there, he probably would have been chopped in half. Because
Oh my God.
I was wearing a glove, and I bounced the sheet metal up, and we're talking this sheet metal probably weighs I'd say close to 200 pounds easily. All right.
Yeah.
So it's not light. It's coming down off of a 20-foot roof. So now we're talking velocity times gravity times everything else, right?
Yeah.
And so he could have easily been sitting beside himself quickly, right? So anyway, yeah, I got kicked out. I got kicked out of DL. They kicked me out. Yeah, they said so
crazy.
today. Yeah, today it was raining really hard, right? And I had a low blood sugar. I think you all know I'm a type 1 diabetic, so I had a look because of all the activity and things like that. I've been trying to eat carbohydrates, to keep my blood sugar up, limit my insulin intake and everything like that. But it caught up with me last night, And I asked one of the roommates, hey, was I snoring last night? He goes, yeah, you're snoring loud. I said, yeah, that's when I get a low blood sugar, I start snoring, because it just kind of, affects your body like that. So I snore when I have a low blood sugar. So anyway, I told him, hey, I won't be able to go working out there. It's raining anyway. I have to raise my blood sugar, get it level, because what will happen is if I just eat something, go out there, it's going to drop again. And that's without taking any insulin. So I think I explained it before, like when I'm in a stressful situation, or, like with weightlifting or, heavy exercise or something like that, my pancreas will kick in with enough insulin to get by the T cells, and then my blood sugar can just drop. So anyway, so later on in the day, I was going to go to the local Walmart, get some laundry detergent and a sketchbook for a guy who's doing a journal. So it's kind of like putting together, his journal at Dinosaur Adventureland, which is pretty cool. But before I took off, this guy comes in. I'd never seen him before, other than I thought he was the cook. Hey, I need to talk to you. I said, oh, that's great. I haven't met you. What's your name? Yada, yada. And so anyway, he says that a girl has a complaint. Two girls have a complaint against me. I said, what girls are these? And he said, one is one girl and the other one's the other girl. I said, I don't even know who the other girl is, but I know that one girl because she took me on the tour when I first got there.
Yeah.
And I said, I never said anything derogatory, so I don't know what you're going about. I just asked her why she was wearing those boots, because she was wearing like a clodhopper type, like you wear at a equestrian type thing, right? Where they're kind of high so the crap doesn't get all over you. And
Right.
So that was it. That was the only thing I ever asked her, And so anyway, he comes in and accuses me of saying something derogatory to some girl. And, you can't defend a negative, bro. You just can't.
Who is asking you to defend a negative? You said the guy made a positive claim that you said something that offended one or both of these two girls.
It's
Yeah.
it's so when did you stop beating your wife? That type thing, or your dog, or whatever it is. And so I said, look, this is a false accusation. I don't have any way to defend myself, and you're coming in and saying what? And he says, well, you have to leave. And I said, I have to leave. I just got here, and you're saying that I already offended the. And then they went on to sing about work. Said, where were you today? Working on it. I said, look, after my blood sugar raised, I was right in there. I was putting joists on the lumber, so that we could make the stage. You know what joists are, right? They hold the.
Yeah.
They hold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. They hold the floors. There you go. So I was helping put the joists in.
Okay.
And so anyway, the rain started coming. And you can't work. Put the tarps up and all that. And so after that, it was lunch, and I decided to skip lunch because I wanted to keep my my carbohydrates up, but at the same time, I didn't take any insulin. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So I had to balance that out. So he says, "Well, you weren't working the full time today," and I explained to him. So I went. I talked to Dr. Hovind about it,
Yeah.
and I said my piece, and he goes, well, you need to be in the hospital then. This isn't a hospital. This is a place where you have to work. It's not a freeloading place.
Right.
And I was like, do what? I said, this is a full 180.
It's really not a 180. You knew what was expected of you when you planned on going there. So the first time I listened to this clip, I felt like Alec Cox was kicked out unfairly, but now that I've had more time to think about it, I'm not sure. If I can play devil's advocate here, I think the guy has a point that everyone knows Kent is going to put you to work the second you step foot on DAL campus. If you can't do what's expected of you because of a medical condition, either you shouldn't have come or you should have told Kent ahead of time and asked him if he still wanted you there or if you could work out some sort of modified work schedule. Also, the dinner was mandatory, so by not showing up, it sends the message that you can pick and choose which rules to follow. I may not agree with it, but I'm just saying, even if you weren't going to eat, there's no harm in showing up to socialize with people.
I mean, we're talking kind of weird. I mean, I'm not going to talk bad about it because, it's a pretty cool place, but what they did to me was really, really, really bad. And I was just like, you're kidding me. Just because I had a low blood sugar I handled it myself without any of your help, right? Which I do most of the time of my life. And you're now kicking me out because I didn't put in 8 hours of work during a rainy day.
Right.
And then he said, "Oh, well, you didn't show up to dinner." And I was like, "Well, yeah, I was at 5 o'clock and I already told you I didn't need to eat. So why would I need to go to dinner? Because I'm trying to balance out my carbohydrate intake because my body is just, right now it's a mess." So I finally got it figured out. It's all good. I'll probably have something to eat a little bit later before I go to bed. And he said, "Well, we just can't have that here. You got to go." So I packed up all my stuff
really
and
strange.
telling me, man, I mean, this is like, talk about being blindsided. I was just like, wow, this is something, I've never been accused of any of this. And then he said, "Well, you said that you were going to get naked and get a shower." I said, "Those words did come out of my mouth, but not in that context. The gentleman asked me what I did in my life, and we had a 10-minute conversation about my water polo and also about, how much work I did today in a matter of 10 minutes. And so the wife, who I did not address during the whole talk, probably picked out a couple of words, naked and shower, and then went on and did this. And apparently these two have done this before. So I don't know what the big deal was, but anyway,
So
it was
basically,
all.
they got offended because you said naked and shower in the same sentence.
Yes.
That's really strange. I mean, I don't know.
And when I said naked, I said when I played water polo, because it was raining that day and everything like that, I said I was used to being in the water. And when I played water polo, I was just wearing a Speedo, which is basically like being naked anyway.
Right.
For half of my life in college and a couple years after that.
This is where the video just gets strange. The way he describes this conversation is really vague and hard to understand. Don't people get naked when they take a shower? So it was raining, so you said that you were used to being in the water because you played water polo, which you did most of your life, where you wore a Speedo, which was basically like being half naked. Okay, that's kind of a weird logic path. I think this guy is either not giving us the full details of what happened, or he's basically just lying about what happened. I mean, I'd be pretty damn pissed if I was in his situation, traveling to Alabama from California only to get kicked out of DAL after a few days. But he's so strangely casual describing the whole situation. And it's like he will go so far out of his way to let Kent off the hook.
That's the only thing that came out of my mouth that mentioned the naked part. And then I said, "I'm going to go and take a shower." So it was not even the two same sentences, but they put the two together, said, "Oh, he was naked going to the shower." I'm like, okay, now you're kicking me out because I speak like a human being about my life, where being half naked doesn't mean you're fully naked. It means you're half naked, like you're wearing a Speedo. That's pretty, it's like girls walking around with what they walk around with now. That's half naked, right?
Right.
So anyway, that's my piece.
Please don't mention your piece after you were just talking about being half naked and wearing a Speedo.
Phrasing.
And so I'm leaving. I'm going to go visit my son up in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Okay.
Hang out there for a week and then head back to Cali, I guess.
Well,
So that was my.
story that happened.
Yeah, it's not your fault, but I mean, I just thought I'd let it go, kind of as a reasoning for everything.
I mean,
but at least I have better internet.
I like Kent Hovind and I like his debates. I do think that he's a bit brash sometimes, but I mean, we're all human.
He's a
We're all
narcissist.
gonna have. Yeah.
No, he's a narcissist, full on narcissist. Today he was pissed off because I wasn't there at the time. I was busy with my low blood sugar. Yeah. But apparently what happened was a 2x4 hit him and broke his glasses in two.
That's a lot of damage.
So that's why he was tipped off. Yeah. And, you're in a hard hat type area. You should be wearing a hard hat.
Right.
And goggles.
Yeah, I agree. Now even Kent is getting injured. I mean, that's just amazing.
Shouldn't just be walking around with spectacles on. But in that same concept, he kind of escalates because he's under the pressure to get this certain thing built at a certain time, which I don't think he's going to make it because there's just too much rain right now. But I'm not talking bad about him. I'm just telling you the story and what I've noticed.
Well,
He runs it very well. He's a nice guy when he's outside of being panicked into, but he's got this thing on his mind. They asked to get this church finished in less than 3 weeks.
Yeah,
it's not even.
That seems kind of unreasonable. Yeah, for timelines. But well, I was just gonna say there is actually a positive to being a narcissist, and that would be that it drives perfection. Actually, in most cases. So if you notice that people that are like highly skilled in their position, their profession, they tend to be narcissists. It's because they want to be viewed as someone that's knowledgeable, so they will actually go above and beyond to gain knowledge and things like that in their field. So I'm not saying that it's necessarily a great thing. I don't think it's going to be prideful, but if it's going to help to accumulate more people in the kingdom, I'd say as long as he doesn't make it something that's above God, obviously. But
Well,
yeah, I completely understand where you're coming from, though.
But the way I put narcissist is not in his demeanor. It's in. All right. So obviously there was some sort of a contention. Let's get to the bottom of this. Oh, we'll just believe these people because they've been there for the longest. That's where it went, and he just didn't want to hear anything or anything like that. He brought up. Yeah. So I was like, okay, fine, I'm out. And so I was, the funny part about it was, very first day I was there, I gave him probably the equivalent of $800 in books, everything from a concise commentary of Matthew Henry to Roget's Thesauruses, just list the books in between Kingdom of the Cults and numerous translations of the Bible, even going back to Tyndale, and things like that I had on my bookshelf forever. And I said, well, I'm here, I might as well put it in his bookshelf, let him use it, and I'll have access to it anyway. Well, I left that with him, but I was also going to give him a couple $100 for kind of like just an offering,
Right.
And nothing like a bribe or anything like that, but something I never had the money on me at the time that I would forget it because I keep my stash money in a secret place that nobody knows. I even lose track of it sometimes, and then I find it. But it's no, it's a good method. So every time I like go to see him, like, dang, forgot. All right, I'll give it to him next time. So obviously it didn't go the way I wanted it to, but good on them for keeping whatever. But that's a tough road to hoe when you've only been there, 4 or 5 days, and you're already like being accused of something and being a sloth.
Well, it sounds like the enemy was just trying to come against you, that situation. And I mean, it doesn't mean that obviously people like you and I, even if we're believers, we can still be tempted to do things like that. So I think of it as like these people were probably tempted to do something without realizing it. And I mean, I want to go to the Dennis Road Adventureland, but at the same time, I have heard some stories here and there, and I don't want to say that yours is like not just like a one-off. I do think there's more to it than that. But I don't know all the people that are actually there, and I've only seen maybe like 2 or 3 of the staff the entire time that I've watched all of his stuff, his commentaries and stuff.
And there's 2 that are they're married. They got married there at DAL, and they're kind of like the well, if you put it in structure, deacons, elders, that type of thing, they're the higher up. And then you go to 2 of these people I had never met. I met the one guy last night for the first time, he and his wife, and he's got 5 or 6 kids, and they live there. They've been there for like 4 years. And I met him. They seem really nice and everything, but she was the accuser, one of them. And then Yeah, like, you know, I said something in front of her husband and he didn't say anything. I mean, how is that? You know, so anyway, um, you know, so it's like there's a hierarchy to it that if you go against or they, you know, say something again, they just want you out. That was the bottom line. So as I was leaving, I've met several people and they're all, hey, what's up? And I said, well, I got kicked out. Gotta go because I was putting my stuff in my car.
Yeah.
And they said, for what? And I said, I have no idea. They still haven't explained it to me. So it's like, you're out. So, yeah, it was kind of weird. So I just handed out my business card to a couple people that, because I actually have a package that's supposed to show up at DAL tomorrow with my computer and a whole bunch of other stuff that my mom was sending through UPS. So I have to have that obviously picked up and sent back.
And Kent seriously wouldn't let you stay there long enough to just receive the package of an expensive computer? What an asshole. I don't understand how this dude is just casually listing this stuff off like he's fine with it. How brainwashed are you, bro? At what point do you look Kent in the eye and say, no, look, that's my property, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to find basically a hotel in Lenox, and I'm going to stay here until I can come and pick up my computer. It seriously blows my mind how these guys are willing to bend over backwards not to blame Kent for any wrongdoing.
So, yeah, it's kind of a bummer. But anyway, I get to spend the night in a hotel and then head off to see my son, which that was the plan this week anyway. So I probably would have gotten ditched anyway because I went to go visit my son.
Well, I'm glad that things still worked. It wasn't the way you expected it to.
Right. You know, God's got a plan. Well, I got to see it, and that the benefit of seeing it is it was good. I mean, I don't really have any complaints. They're on a shoestring budget trying to pull this thing together. There's a lot of stress. I get that.
Yeah.
They're trying to do some things that are kind of not impossible, but very, very, very difficult level, you know?
Yeah.
So level of difficulty is about a 7.8, you know, versus a lower difficult level.
And the thing is with construction, you don't want to miss any steps.
You know, I'm not going to talk bad about it, but it's pretty shoddy. I mean, it's a lot of it's eyeball. There's no blueprints to it. There's nothing. It's all eyeballed. And one of the rooms, which is it's more like it's more like a meeting room. I think it's where they used to do the videos. Now they've moved into another one. So I'm looking at the windows, and windows tell all of a building, right? I'm looking at the windows, and they progressively step up like about an inch and a half. If you look at it, you know, like quickly, okay, they're kind of online. But if you look at it, they you know, you're supposed to have the oh yeah, you can. But
what they should have done at least is they could have cut a 2-length you know, stick and just like set it there to make sure that they knew where they need to put the cuts.
Right.
But it sounds like they didn't even do that. That's pretty sad.
No, they're just you know, it's moving on from one to the next, and they eyeballed a frame. They put the trusses up and all that for the sheet metal to go on top for the roof, and they were trying to rush that one day that guy's fingers got cut. They were trying to get it done. They're trying to rush. You never rush a construction.
Exactly. That's when things happen because. But I just think it's kind of weird that they weren't using any templates there at the DAL that you're saying. Like this is weird.
It is all eyeballed. I mean, you know, I'm not going to go into it because then you in construction, you know, said. But there was a gentleman that I became quick friends with, a heavyset Mexican guy who runs a construction company back in California. And he didn't mention anything about being in construction, but they asked me to go down to Pensacola with them, which is only an hour away. And I said, no, I have to work, you know, and so I didn't go with them. So they're going to come back and I'm not going to be there, but and he'll probably call me. But he was looking on the outside. He goes, He goes, this is not really good. He goes,
Yeah.
it's up on posts. He said, where's the foundation of this thing? Then he goes, okay, they have the trusses up the top with the metal, and then they're going to put some beams across it for a little bit of stability. But you're only looking at 2x4s on the floor. There's no reinforcement.
Did they
at
do
all.
a monolithic slab, or what? How did
No.
Sixes and
Oh my
at least
gosh.
foundational. The posts have to have foundational cement, and then at
And they
least
don't. They don't.
Did they even read the Bible? Like, did
yeah.
they?
Right. Wait,
It's
you're
just
telling me
sitting up on
there's not anchors or anything. I mean, like
No,
you know,
sir.
there's got to be cement on the cement.
No, sir.
Oh my
No.
God, that
No.
won't last.
They're just hoping that the red clay holds, which it won't. So, well, anyway, that's enough of bagging on that thing. It's just they want it done. I was talking with one of the guys, and I said, "How long do you think this thing's gonna last?" He goes, 5 years.
Now that's a lot of damage.